is only war.
What is up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. We're doing an RTT tournament battle report. We got one of 3 games starting today, so it's going to be a 3-video series of the RTT we just won with Grey Knights. So if you guys are new to the channel, definitely hit the subscribe so these videos actually pop up for you guys. Our goal is to get to 10k next month. We're super close. We're growing every single day, and it really starts to you guys hitting that subscribe button. But Patreons, appreciate you guys. Wouldn't be doing this without you. We hit a goal once we got 500. A couple months ago. Our next goal is 1,000. Once we get up to $1,000 a month, we're going to do another huge giveaway. Basically, a lot of prize support, everything that we have Dirtbag wise, sending out to you guys, models. It was a huge event last time we hit 500, but we're really close to 1,000 now. And that's basically anybody who's getting in the competitive scene of 40k and you want to get better at the game, whether it be list ideas, tactics, anything you guys have questions about. It's always good to have a guy that plays this game really year-round, super competitive, and just kind of, I wouldn't say a pro, but somewhat pro gamer in your corner at all times. That's really what the point of the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page is. And you guys get to support the channel. So guys, wouldn't be doing this without you. So if you like these types of videos, it's going to be a kind of like the other 30-minute battle reports that we do on the channel, except it's tournament wise. So it's more competitive. The lists you guys see are going to be competitive. The tactics you see are going to be competitive. We did have a recent comment last video against Votann, and it just brightened up my day. It was really cool. He joined, he just found the page. He said we were like one of the best tactical video 40k channels on YouTube, which just made it feel so good, and he joined Dirtbag Patreon right away. So a lot more of that is going to be coming up in 2024. We're going to try and travel a lot different GTs across the country. Eventually we'll be going out to the UK. Mike really wants to get out to the London Grand Tournament out there, so hopefully we can get out there and see different countries with 40k, but usually the biggest ones are Las Vegas Open. We have Nova coming up at the end of August. I'll be going to that. But yeah, so let me know in the comments below what you liked, didn't like, how we can improve on these videos. And if you guys do want to support the channel, first thing you do is subscribe and then head over to Patreon, because all these videos go up ahead of time on patreon.com. and you get some special perks of live gaming and Monday Night Gaming stream only to Patreon members. So you get some special perks over at the Patreon. All right, let's get into the video. We have Grey Knights versus Votann. This is our like 3rd video we got with Votann on the channel. They are a pretty cool army. They keep getting buffed. They were really bad starting off in 10th edition. They keep getting buffed and buffed and buffed. With this guy's list, he just kept pulling out models from his bag. I didn't know when he was going to stop, but it was a standard Votann list. So if you see this list, you're probably going to be running something very similar to it, and I'll go over exactly how we played against it. So let's bring up the pictures. First off, I will go over our list. We did run a 5 Dread Knight, Grey Knight list. I said I'm going to be stress testing this. So the first RTT that we're able to bring this to, we stress test the hell out of it. Running 5 of them. We had 2 Grandmaster Dread Knights and 3 regular Dread Knights, which I do like the regular Dread Knights better than the Grandmaster, just being able to advance and charge and shoot and fall back. Like, they can basically do anything with it that they want. The only difference is they don't get the full rerolls to hit, wound, and damage against monsters or vehicles, but I use mine more of gun platforms, and you'll see that throughout every single game that we played. So we have Codiez in there as well. Codiez is a CP generator. If the opponent gets a CP on a 2+, I get a CP. It just keeps it a little bit more even in the game. They always are 1-up on the CP. They're basically playing a different type of game than you are. We have the Assassin. She's just super good still in Grey Knights. If she's not in your list, you should definitely add her. We do sell proxy. That's actually a proxy model. Callus Assassin, if you guys are interested in that. We have 3 Tech Marines, 1, 2, and I believe I think this guy is the 3rd Tech Marine, so I am getting another Tech Marine very soon, but the TO let me proxy that painted Grey Knight model, who's the same size as the Tech Marine. So we have 3 Tech Marines in the list. We have Drago, obviously, because Drago is amazing, with 10 Terminators, Banner, Apothecary, 2 side cannons. Every Grandmaster is labeled with a hammer. I need to print more hammers, but every single one of them has a hammer, has a side cannon, has a flamer. Yeah, that's and we have a unit of strikes, so it's a kind of smaller but more of elite type Grey Knight list. It hits really freaking hard. So that's the list. We use that all 3 games. So I'm going to be going over that in this video, and then the other 2 videos we'll get right into the battle report. But they'll be coming up next. They'll probably be on Patreon really quickly if you guys want to head over to Patreon. And then for our Votann player, Kenny, super chill dude, retired military. Loves playing the game. A lot of retired military people, or just military people in general, love 40k. It just such a stress reliever, honestly, with this game, and it's so cool talking to him about it. Keeble, definitely a good example of it. So he's got the 4 little boats. He's got a bunch of berserkers, so 1, 2 units of berserkers in the 2 boats, with the really heavy shooting gun. 2 of the troop guys. He's got a 10-man Terminator brick. The 1 5-man Terminator brick is not actually there. He accidentally brought those guys out, and the Terminator captain in the unit. 3 units of bikes, and then this hard-hitting anti-vehicle shooting unit, which I was super scared of the entire freaking game. I think they shoot 18 inches or something, so they don't shoot that far, but still they hit really hard in their anti-vehicle. And he's got a little character attached to them, which I believe gives them lethals, plus the big old toughness 12 shit ton of guns vehicle as well. So that's his huge Votann list. And the mission we played was actually Battleground, which I actually really like. Battleground. I played it a lot with Chaos Space Marine, so I kind of knew what to focus on, what not to focus on, stuff like that. This is the terrain setup. This is at Alternate Universes in Bluebell, Pennsylvania. We have these green things, which are ruins. Now, we played in the basement for our first game. It's all random. So the basement, there's 2 tables set up in the basement. The rest of them are upstairs. This was a 22-man tournament, and usually these green things, they ran out. So we had to proxy these little green felt things in place of these ruins. Now the green things are just ruins, so they block line of sight infinite, and if you're in holy with them, you can see through them, or if you're holy with them, you get cover, stuff like that. So they're just like ruins. Everything else is first floor line of sight blocking, and basically everything is WYSIWYG, because these are all blocking line of sight, blocking line of sight, blocking line of sight. And then if you can see through the 2nd or 3rd floor windows, you can see through the 2nd or 3rd floor windows if they're in the ruin. If they're not in the ruin, you still can't see through it. But that's the setup. It's a little rectangle square kill box in the center. I think that's number 4, I believe. It's either 1 or 4 of Games Workshop terrain. And Vital Ground is the 2 objectives. 1 disappears in the center, so we're not fighting over the center at all. And then 1's in our own deployment zones. So it's only 4 objectives. You hold 5 points for the 2 center, and then you get 2 for your objective, and I believe 6 or something for the opponent's objective. So we're going to be trying to get to that opponent's objective as much as possible. But if you can hold 1 and then hold your center, you're getting 7 points every single turn. If you can hold 2, you're getting 12 points, which is huge. So this is our setup. It's basically 30 inches in the center all the way to the diagonal. My setup was pretty simple. I put 2 Dread Knights in the back here, 1 Dread Knight with the sigil up front. That's this one, the Grandmaster looking one. He's my favorite looking one. It's an Etsy customization. You just put it over your regular Dread Knight, but it comes with bits on Etsy that you can put over it. He's up front in case I need to do sigil turn 1. I have a tech priest right next to him, and then we have 2 tech priests, 1 here and 1 over there. So the one, like I said, over here is there to buff up one of these 2, and then the assassin is right in between there, so she can't get shot turn 1. They're both blown up over there. But this is the setup. Let me move my big ass head so you guys can actually see this. All right, so all 3 tech priests are near a Dread Knight, so that way if I have turn 1, I can buff 1, move up, and potentially shoot something. If I don't have turn 1, I can choose which of my Dread Knights are going to be teleported, salted, picked up, and put somewhere else, and then whoever's still on the table gets buffed by the tech priest. So I want to buff at least 3 Dread Knights every single turn with my 3 tech priests. The other 2 can just go teleport assault anywhere. The strikes, he had turn 1, so the strikes, instead of they started here, instead of pregame moving forward to try and get like aerial denial or something like that, they scout move back behind the cover so that way they don't get shot turn 1. And they made my home objective sticky, because you always want to make at least 1 objective sticky with your strikes turn 1, or you're not playing them right. Drago and his posse is behind this building, because now with the new rules, they can teleport assault turn 1 and get the extra 3-inch charge. So basically, has a 6-inch charge turn 1 if you really want to use that. So like I said, he gets turn 1. We have the missions over here that we have. Let me just make it bigger. All right, cool. So you can see to the left here, these are our missions in order. On turn 1, he has aerial denial and engagement off front. So it's really hard for him to get engaged off fronts because without the scout moves, he doesn't really want to get too far forward. He's got to get basically in my corner, but he's got to get the whole squad wholly within 3 inches of my deployment, area. So he wasn't able to do that with the bikes. So he kind of just gives up on the engagement off fronts, but he does get aerial denial by sacrificing this little unit up here. They can, basically get out 8. He advanced, so he advanced out to be wholly within 6 inches of the center to get aerial denial. So he got an easy 5 points turn 1, and that was his turn. He basically hit everything else. Bikes stayed back there. There's a unit on the objective back here. 2 guys over here. I had him put his models on the tank so we know who's in what tank, which is super important when you're playing in a tournament. You always want to make sure that your opponent and you know exactly what's in each tank. Because let's say later in the game, this tank down here would really benefit from having berserkers in it, but instead he brings out, the shooting unit on that model. So it's not, you don't want to call people for cheating, but you want to make sure that they're not cheating accidentally. So make sure that they have their models on the vehicles during deployment, so you know exactly where each model or unit is, so that way you both know exactly what's in each vehicle. So he put them on the vehicles later on, so we know exactly what's in what vehicle. And then on our turn 1, we actually get as well aerial denial. So we get aerial denial and secure no man's land. So all I have to do is control one of the deployment or objective markers in my deployment zone and 1 in no man's land, which is pretty simple because there's nothing over here in the top. So we picked up and brought down Drago's unit up here. We didn't really want to waste the turn 1 or plus 3 inch charge. So if we make the charge, cool, and then if we don't, it's all right. So we brought up Grandmaster. He basically just scooted up over here. All the ones with the green dice are the ones that are buffed, so they have the +1 to hit. This one spent 1 CP to come down within 3 inches of these guys, so that way he can get aerial denial, because if I kill them, I'll be able to get 5 points for aerial denial. So he's there in the center. He's trying to be as far away as possible to not get shot by really any of these guys. And then everything else didn't really have a ton of line of sight turn 1 because of the ruins and where he put all of his guys. So I really wanted to get my guys down here turn 1, but I wasn't able to get line of sight to the bikes. We were imagining that this ruin is completely straight up and down because this is the first time we played at the store. And I didn't want to do a gotcha. I fucking hate playing like that. So I was able to get 2 or 3 dreads over here to get line of sight on the bikes. But I was like, all right, if we're going to play, straight up because the ruin's slanted, so if we go just straight up first floor line of sight blocking, we'll do it that way just so we both agree upon it, which should be talked about before the game so that way you both know exactly how the terrain setup is. So I took them back and I just put them up top here. Again, I don't want anybody to have bad experience when playing games, especially at the home store. So I want people to enjoy the game, practice like you would in a tournament or a friendly GT or friendly game. So that's basically what we did. So I was able to kind of move my guys back over here just so I can get some shots off on these 2 little tanks, and obviously kill the guys in the center because I really need the guys in the center to die so that way I can get aerial denial. Everything else was kind of not shot at because he had good turn 1 with line of sight blocking. All right, so that was pretty simple. I got 5 and 5 aerial denial and secure no man's land. Turn 2, he gets 7 points because he was able to control this objective and his home field objective. So that was a good turn 1 primary. He pulled out Bring It Down, which is great because I have all vehicles, and extend battle lines. So extend battle lines, you have to control, I think one of these and one of these, so he got 5 pretty easily. And then Bring It Down, he was able to kill one of my vehicles. So since my guys are 13 wounds, if you kill a vehicle, you get 4 points. He shoots a bunch, he moves all the line of sight to shoot a bunch at this guy. He basically takes 4 wounds. And then before this tank backed up, these guys got out of the tank, the berserkers, stayed 9 inches away of this dread. So that way, if he comes within 9 inches, I'll miss the Deimos away. But instead, I keep reminding him hey, remember I missed the Deimos because it's one of the first time we played Grey Knights in a competitive scene. So I was like, all right, make sure you stay outside 9, so that way you make a 9-inch charge, you can then get in, and I don't miss the demos out. These bikes didn't really move. They basically stayed on the second floor, or they hopped up to the second floor outside 9 inches, so that way he can shoot down to get some shots off on these guys. And then this guy couldn't fit up his base on here because you have to wholly fit your base on the second floor to stay up there. So this one couldn't fit there, so he stayed on the bottom just to be on the objective. And then over here, he shot, I believe, these 2 vehicles into my dread over here, and took it down to 2 wounds. So this thing, I think, rolled 2 6s, which then crit 2d3 extra times, and then it was insane. So he takes this guy down to 2 wounds. Drago and his posse still there, just chilling. These all dreads are just waiting to do something next turn. I have my tech priest back here. Can't see, back here within 3 inches of this dread. I have my other tech priest here within 3 inches of all 3 of these dreads. And then I think I have another tech priest behind this wall within 3 inches of this dread. So basically all of them can buff up next turn, +1 to hit, and decide what I want to do with it. So that was his turn 2. And then he actually makes a 9-inch charge. So he makes a 9-inch charge. That was his first of many 9-inch charges that he makes this game. So he makes his 9-inch charge, gets the charge off, kills this dread. So that dread dies for the bring it down, and now these guys are just kind of chilling there in the center, waiting to do something or get shot at. All right, but this dread's on 2 wounds, the Grandmaster, and then these other 3 dreads are fine. So our turn 2, we pick up 7 points for primary. We get overwhelming force, so I have to kill people on objectives and behind enemy lines. So I want to try and get at least 2 units behind enemy lines, and to do that we have to be wholly within his diagonal deployment. So 1 was easy. We got within 9 inches back here with the strikes, so we didn't have to spend 1 CP to come down within 3. So these guys came down here. I believe he overwatched with, I think, the big vehicle to try and kill them. And then we brought our assassin down up here. The Terminator scooted up, and they didn't teleport assault, but they scooted up so that way I can charge and probably kill and tie up these 2 vehicles. So I was basically relying on the assassin or the Termies to basically scoot up, charge, and get in the deployment zone to try and get behind enemy lines. Luckily, the assassin made her 9-inch charge, so she charged in, tug up the tank, consolidated, and then got behind enemy lines. So I had 2 units behind enemy lines for 5 points, and then we had 3 for overwhelming force. So we had to kill basically these bikes on this objective to get us overwhelming force, which was pretty easy to do, especially when you have this Dread Knight who has 2 wounds left, but he's able to get line of sight onto that guy. This Dread Knight scooted up. He can get line of sight on the bikes and these guys and decide who he's going to charge if need to. The other Grandmaster over here has 24 inches to these bikes and these guys. So I'm giving myself multiple angles to shoot multiple targets depending on who dies and who doesn't die. If one guy's left in this unit, you got to make sure you have something to follow up to try and kill him to take out the entire unit. But the main target this turn is this bike squad to get him off primary and get me overwhelming force. So I'm going to start with the dread that's furthest away, shooting this unit, and if I can kill this unit with just the dread, that's perfect. If not, I have 2 other dreads, at least 1 dread who can see this guy on the objective. So I don't want to start with this guy, because if these 2 get taken off, he still has 1 guy on the objective who can't be seen by anybody else on the table. So target priority is huge when it comes to when you're doing shots. So this Tech Marine's within 3. The other Tech Marine up here is behind the wall within 3. The other Tech Marine's back here. Not sure what I did with this Tech Marine. I think I buffed up and then just blocked out the backfield because he does have Terminators. So I have to kind of keep my guy back so that way he can't get in my deployment zone. Okay, so we basically just start killing shit. We killed the guys in the center pretty easily. We killed the 3 bikes, I believe, with 1 of the Dread Knights. And then we didn't have to make a charge anywhere. So these guys made their charge. They didn't get anywhere near the deployment zone. But luckily, the assassin made her charge. So she was able to come down, make her charge, get into the deployment zone. So that way it got me 2 behind enemy lines. So he has left a unit of bikes back here, bikes in the deployment zone, big tank, little tank, a unit of 5 guys, and the 10-man brick of Terminators deep striking in, and the guys inside this tank right here that are really good into anti-vehicle. So for his turn 3, he gets 2 points because he held his backfield objective. He gets behind enemy lines and cleanse. So he has to try and get behind enemy lines and cleanse. So he brings down his Terminators. He's able to get a big line of Terminators right here. I left a little gap of a straight line so his Terminators can come down right smack dab in the center of the table. And then he doesn't have a lot of shots because I think I sigil my Grandmaster. He lines up a lot of shots, like these 2 vehicles are lined up. These guys are lined up on my Grandmaster. Now again, I've reminded him like 15 times about sigil, how it works, who has it, when I can do it, stuff like that. So the first 2 turns, this is turn 3 now. The first 2 turns, I kept saying like, hey, he's got sigil, hey, he's got sigil, hey, he's got sigil, hey, he's got sigil. So by turn 3, I use sigil. So he basically lines up. I'm like, all right, I have, this dread who could really benefit from being over here. So he procs sigil. I then pick up my dread and I put him back in his deployment zone. This dread can't really be seen by anybody. These guys got out of the vehicle that was over here. And of course they make their 9-inch charge. So they get out of the vehicle. They stay outside 9 inches, they make a 9-inch charge, and these Terminators also make a 9-inch charge. So he's now 3 for 3 with 9+ inch charges in this game, which is just hilarious. We were both laughing about how good his charge rolls are. Because if you can roll 9-inch charges against Grey Knights, it's going to be a great game. So I have a 10-man Terminator brick with Drago with a bunch of Terminators that he charged me down here. I think I spent 1 CP for armor content, so that way I have to have a 3-up save instead of a 4-up save against all of his power fists. And then down here, he doesn't wound me too much down here. I don't know if he kills this guy. No, so he leaves this guy on 2 wounds, the dread at the bottom, and then he swings back and kills all 4 of the dudes down here. The only reason he has 4 guys left is because I overwatched with the flamer and the side cannon, and we're actually able to kill 1 of these guys. If he had 1 more dude left, if I didn't overwatch, he would have killed this dread on the charge. So luckily overwatch saved my ass with that. 1 bike was left down here, which he was able to come back in reserves in my deployment zone to get behind enemy lines for 3 points. And behind enemy lines, you don't need to be you don't care about battle shock, which was something that I learned, that if you're non-battle shocked, it doesn't matter. If you're battle shocked, doesn't matter. You still get points for being behind enemy lines, which is awesome. So he was able to get 1 unit behind enemy lines back there in the corner, which is clutch. And then we're just slap boxing over here. Wasn't able to get anybody on the objective because base to base, base to base. So I still hold that point. Assassin, I believe, is just chilling right there. And then my Grandmaster that I sigiled is all the way up here in the corner in his deployment zone. So I basically picked him up from here and just put him all the way back there in his deployment zone. So if I get captured in the outpost or something like that, that'd be huge next turn. And I can kind of take him off his home field objective and try and get primary on his home field objective. So end of his turn. This guy lives with 2 wounds. He's got 2 tanks in the center, this tank on the bottom. I still have strikes down here. I deep struck a tech marine over here. This guy's in his deployment zone. Termies are slap boxing back over here. Assassin's still alive. This tech priest is still alive over here. And I think I picked up that one that was over here. Just picked it up and brought it over here. So for our turn, we get 7 for primary. We get bring it down and no prisoners. So I have to try and kill these vehicles. And if I kill the vehicles, I also get no prisoner at the same time. So we have a bunch of guys over here. We have a character and a unit on the objective, so that gives us at least 2. If I can kill this vehicle down here, that gives us another one. If I can kill these 2 vehicles, that gives us some more bring it down points. So if we bring it down, we get 4. So I believe we were only able to kill 1 of the vehicles. And then we get 5 for no prisoners. So we're able to kill at least up to 5 points for the no prisoners. But my dreads are starting to take a beating. We have a Grandmaster right here on his deployment zone. We have the strikes in his deployment zone. We have this guy who has 2 wounds left that basically moved up and then was able to kind of charge and get a tank shock off. So with all the charging, tank shock, and shooting, I took this fucking vehicle down to 1. So I almost killed it in the turn that I was going after it with Bring It Down, but I took it down to 1 wound with everything that we put into it. So super close of getting it. Cody has walked in down here in case I get investigate signals later on. But turn 3, he just usually comes in from reserves. Don't really need him. The other dread came back here to kill the one lonely bike guy in my deployment zone, and there's still like 2 or 3 guys left of Termi slap boxing Drago and the other Terminators on the other side as well. So they're doing their job, holding up his Terminators and keeping me scoring primary and not dying. So that they're doing great over there. Now his turn, he's able to basically one-shot my my Grandmaster in the ruin over there. So he basically backs this vehicle up, one-shots it. I think I had like 11 wounds left, and he one-shots it with that little tank right there, which is just insane. So he kills my vehicle on turn 4. He gets no prisoners and investigate signals, which he gets rid of and then gets assassinated. So perfect lineup. He kills my Grandmaster, which gets him assassinate for 5, and kills a Dread Knight, which gets him 4. So he had a 9-point secondary turn on turn 4, but he had 0 for primary because I basically held down all of the objectives on the table with this list. So on our turn 4, we get 13 because we held this one, that one, and this one down here. This dread I think died to some random shots with these. I think these guys actually got out on turn 5. The guys in the tank finally got out, and he killed them on turn 4 or 5. And then we got 13, and then we got 8 for capturing enemy outpost. That was perfect timing. We had the his outpost back here. Strikes were basically back there. They moved up and stole the enemy outpost, and then deployed teleport homer again in the same zone with the assassin. We could just kind of deploy teleport homer for 5. So we had a really good turn 4. We had 13 for primary and then 13 for secondary points. So 26 points for primary and secondary on turn 4. That was a huge swing. Turn 5, he ends up with 0 for primary again. He had tempting target, which he couldn't get, and then deployed teleport homer for 3. So I think all he had left was this little tank right here, which he just moved to the center, deployed teleport homer, got 3 points. So he finished up with 51 points, and then we finished up with on turn 5 we had 18 for primary, which is insane. And then we had defend stronghold for 3, and then storm hostile objective for 5. So I believe if he doesn't own any of the objectives, we'll control it, so we'll get 5 points. We had 8 at the end of turn 5, and then on primary we had that. So let's bring this over. Insane turn 4 and 5. This is basically what we wound up with. So 95 for Grey Knights, 51 for Kenny Votann. He had 9 out of 50 for primary. He had 32 out of 40 for secondary. We had 45 out of 50 for primary, and then 40 out of 40 for secondary. Our secondary score was bonkers. Let me add this up. So we actually had 48 out of 40, but max is 40. But yeah, 48 out of 40 for secondary points. This list still scores secondary points really well. The assassin's still able to do stuff. The strikes making stuff sticky and then hopping over the objectives. Cody is coming in if you need him, but getting me that CP if he does. He actually killed something, which then got him CP, and then on a 2+, Cody has got me that CP. So I think he got 2 CP because of his special thing. We got 1 CP, which is still an extra CP above his 2. It was worth it, against Votann. Drago again lived and just kind of fought on the home field objective most of the game. But yeah, with the 3 tech priests, like once they start spreading out by turn 3, maybe turn 4, now they can start really focusing on secondaries if you need to. Like they're basically getting picked up, dropped somewhere else. If you need to pick up a hurt Dread Knight and drop it back in your deployment zone to get healed next turn, you could do it that way as well. But use your tech priests very cautiously. Like I didn't have them die at all this game because I kept them out of line of sight or within 3 inches of a Dread Knight, so that way they had lone op and you couldn't get anywhere near them to shoot them. So there's a lot of tactics you can use with 3 tech marines. A lot of people are afraid of assassinate, but yes, it does give up assassinate quite often, but if you don't give it to your opponent, they can't get it. So there's a couple games that I played with this. This is like my 3rd or 4th game, and anytime somebody takes fixed against me, it's really hard for them to do it because I'm just hopping all over the table and I can control either where they go or which characters they're actually going to kill. I'm like, all right, I'm not going to sacrifice this Tech Marine over there to get that secondary point because he has Assassinate. So I'm going to keep him in the backfield and throw my strikes that way instead, which then stops him from getting Assassinate. So you can actually control Assassinate and bring it down pretty easily when it comes to fixed going against you. So really you're just fighting over your secondary points and stopping his primary. If you can stop his primary while getting your secondary points, you're going to win. So don't be too fearful of running this list with a lot of characters, because we have Drago, 2 Grandmasters, 3 Tech Marines, Calidus, and Codius. We have 8 characters in this list. So it's like, oh yeah, sure, take Assassinate. We'll see how it goes. But Kenny was a great opponent, awesome dude. We got to talk afterwards. Hopefully he gets to come out for more RTTs. I forgot to grab his number. So Ken, if you're watching this, make sure you hit me up, or I'll see you at the next RTT. But yeah, Votann, super good in 10th edition. There is a lot of options that you can be running, and a lot of the lists, like, they're pretty solid in the competitive scene. You can kind of tweak them whichever your play style is. But these guys, I think for him, should have got out a lot sooner to kind of like just move out the tank 12, get them out, and just nuke a fucking Dread Knight as soon as possible. And yeah, if they die in return, who cares? They probably made up their points back, and they killed one of my 5. So they killed 20% of my army, basically, by killing one of those Dread Knights early on. That was the only thing I could say that he could have done differently, was these guys didn't really get out till turn 4 or 5, the anti-vehicle guys. So if they got out earlier, it now forced me to deal with them, and they could basically overwatch hitting on 5s, I think. So super scary unit. They are really slow, but if you use your vehicle to kind of move up and then drop them off and then they shoot, they become a lot faster and more scary to your opponent that has a lot of vehicles. So that's basically what we learned. Hopefully you guys learned a bunch from this. If you guys want more videos like this, head over to patreon.com, support the channel. These videos go up ahead of time on that anyway, so if you guys just want to see them ahead of time, that's how you get to. And also live battle reports Mondays, potentially Tuesdays in 2024. But yeah, guys, we're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. Trying to get it to 1,000 a month, so that way we can support the new house. No, I'm just kidding. So we can support the channel in 2024 and give a huge giveaway once we hit that 1,000 a month. So guys, appreciate it. This video 2 is coming up very soon. It should be the next video for you guys if you guys on Patreon. And then video 3 right after that to show you that we can go 3-0 at an RTT, 22 people with 5 Dread Knights, and it is super fun, super quick, and super hard to deal with. So appreciate it, guys. Good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon. What's up, gents? 40k Dirtbags here. If you guys are thinking about joining the Patreon page, we're going to go over each tier and how it's going to benefit you and what you're looking for specifically to get out of 40k in 10th edition coming up. There's a lot of stuff to go over. There's a lot of tactical videos up on the channel, which is for free. There's going to be a bunch of perks that you get specifically for being a part of the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. So first off, we have the first tier, which is $1 a month. You guys get first access to the videos over at patreon.com. You also get access to the Discord, which is specifically a private link in the Discord that only Patreon members can see. So you guys will have first access to that. Also a benefit is Patreons over the Dirtbag Nation get live streamed games on patreon.com streamed from YouTube, but this only links specifically for the patreons.com. So not only do you get first access to these videos, you also get to see live stream games specifically only on patreon.com. The next tier is the Justicar. You guys get a shout out on every single video on YouTube. You also get to support us a little bit more. You get first dibs at voting on Discord, as well as you just kind of say, hey, I just want to be a Justicar Dirtbag and support you guys a little bit more than that $1 a month here. But you get all the same access as well as the different color over on the Discord. So the third tier is the competitive Dirtbag. This tier, you get a lot more one-on-one coaching. This is a lot of the Dirtbags over on the Dirtbag Nation. They are able to send out messages one-on-one, go over list ideas, tactics, anything you guys want to talk about. When I was getting into 40k, or really any game in general, I always wanted to message the top players in the meta and just ask them questions. This $10 a month tier gets you that opportunity to message us one-on-one on Discord, so that way we can actually coach you, give you our insights, suggestions, and that's going to get you better at the 40k 10th edition as a whole. So that tier alone, just $10 a month to have one-on-one coaching, one-on-one messages anytime throughout the month, that's going to be a perfect tier for you guys. Even if you're brand new to the game, we go over 1,000-point list, 1,500-point list, 2,000-point brand new starting list, team list, anything you guys need. That's what the competitive Dirtbag tier is for. Also, you get a little bit red number name tag on Discord so people know that you're really serious about getting into the competitive scene. The Grandmaster Dirtbags. This is the all-in-all $25 a month tier. You get one-on-one coaching, everything we said prior to this, but you guys get to see me, Mike, any of the other Dirtbags play your specific list that you want to see tested out live on one of our battle reports. You guys get to mention, suggest videos you guys want to see coming up on patreon.com. So you guys get the above first tier benefit of everything that we do over at Dirtbag Nation. All the support mainly comes from you guys supporting us over here at Dirtbag Nation. And Grandmasters, I can't thank you enough, but for $25 a month, you get one-on-one coaching and anything you want to see live on the tabletop. So you get to see a professional play right in front of you. You guys get to kind of like see it one-on-one, and I'm actually making this specifically for you. There's also TTS events that you guys can suggest. If you guys want to do a first 1 or 2 turn run through on TTS, we can actually log in and coach you one-on-one with that. If you guys see us at any GTs, you guys get special benefits, free dice, stuff like that. Anytime you purchase a merch thing on Discord, you guys get a free limited edition Dirtbag dice sent to you with every single purchase on top of that. So there's a lot of benefits coming up with the Grandmaster Dirtbag. Because I can't thank you enough for supporting us. Definitely let me know which tier would be best for you if you go over to patreon.com and specifically go to a tier. And make sure you don't forget to message me up on Discord. That's where we check every single day. If you guys are really into getting into 10th edition 40k, head over to Patreon, join the competitive Dirtbag or the Grandmaster. Message me as many times as you possibly want, and I'll coach you the best I possibly can on any specific army that you guys play. Mainly our armies right now, currently, going into 2024, is going to be Chaos Space Marines, Grey Knights, Death Guard, and then we have Custodes, Sisters, and I think that's it going into the Wings of 2024. But again, any other army that you guys play, we have other coaches lined up for the Dirtbags that are ready to take on that role of the competitive Dirtbag page. So guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for joining the Dirtbag Nation if you guys are already part of us. And we'll see you in another video soon.